Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boys back again, once again, with another episode of Power Rangers Academia. Yes, we're all here, we're all now, and we're about to get Power Rangers now, even though that account hasn't been active in years. But, shout outs, he's a nice guy. But yeah, we're here to obviously talk about Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. It finally dropped, if you haven't been aware of that. And it came out all in one shot, 10 episodes. They say 25 minutes each, but it was too good to be true. Because they straight up lied. They gave us 3 minutes of credits. And I was like, God damn. So realistically, it was like, between 20 and 22 minutes, which is fine, But yeah, now we're here to all obviously talk about the series in its entirety. Each episode, one after another, would just take us like days and days and days. And obviously the nature and how they released it. I mean, obviously it's Netflix. So this is like kind of like a first for Power Rangers, I think, for especially like the television series, because, we're used to these Johns coming out 1 week after another. And then, there's some downtime. Like, imagine if Power Rangers Academia existed back during those days where it's like, new episode come out, we'd come here, talk about it, wait till the next, you know what I'm saying? That'd be kind of fire. But this time, like, it's like you had to speed run it because spoilers everywhere. People were going crazy on Twitter.
Oh, I legit couldn't even go on Twitter. I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna do it all weekend.
Yeah. Like,
you gotta watch it early. Gotta watch it. It's like once and always. You have to, you have to be on that.
You have to treat it like a Marvel.
Yeah.
Got to be. Yeah, right. Definitely like Marvel on a Thursday release.
Yep.
You can't wait even one day.
I literally had to did a free trial for a VPN while I was in Japan just so I could watch it because I knew I was gonna get spoiled. Because I know me, like the way I'm on social media, it was gonna get spoiled if I didn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there you go, guys. You heard it here from all of us. We literally had to go through loops and bounds. JD wasn't even in the freaking country and he still made it work. Okay? So, the first thing I want to ask everybody is the obvious. What did we all think of Cosmic Fury as a whole? Isaac, you can start.
So let me tell you this: the first 15 minutes of the season, probably one of the most OD in Power Rangers history. All right, one of the most OD. We got Billy off rip.
Mm-hmm.
So our predictions and stuff are how basically our predictions for this season, all of us were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we were.
Yeah.
But so I want to actually give it 2 scores. So I actually posted on my Twitter. I gave it a 7.4 overall rating. But that's 1 score, and I'll explain it in why I'm doing 2 scores in a second. And my other score would be a 6.7. The reason why 6.7 for somebody that has never watched Dino Fury, and a 7.4 for somebody that watched Dino Fury. Because this season you couldn't just jump right in and be like, okay, I know everything that's going on.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's basically Dino Fury season 3.
Yeah. It's more like an epilogue to Dino Fury more than it is a final season. I'll definitely agree with that.
Yeah, but overall, I felt like it wasn't a bad season. That's not a bad score, by the way, guys. It's not a bad score. I think it's very solid. It was a solid season. I know y'all gonna say this. There's no doubt about it. The pacing needed work. Okay, there was 10 episodes with everything going on. That was not enough. The pacing was an issue, but overall, I feel like it started out strong, and then right in the middle, it started just going down just a little bit. That ending left much to be desired.
Yeah.
Especially we got Zed. And we didn't even see him fight, which is one of my complaints.
That's true.
But I don't want to take up too much time because I know we're gonna go more into detail. We have time, so
yeah. I was gonna say, like, are we gonna do our long-winded joints? Are we just giving like a quick score? Like, cause I wrote down notes.
I got notes too, man.
We can go into it.
I'll make it as quick as possible, but there's definitely some things in my head that I want to talk about.
Or do you want to do like certain topics? Like, we can just do our quick score and then like, all right, what you guys think about this? Like, do a quick, because we haven't talked about this yet. Just so y'all know.
Yeah,
I have no idea what everybody else thinks.
I was the first one that started. And as soon as the first episode, I'm like, y'all gotta hurry up because
Isaac was saying he could talk 2 hours off the first 15 minutes.
You saw what I said. You saw what I said. Like in the chat, I was like, "Yo, I'm 15 minutes into this first episode, and this shit is crazy."
I had to mute the chat. That was the first time I ever muted the chat. I was like, nah, these guys are going in. I can't, because I was at work. I couldn't watch it. I was like, nah, they're going in.
Of course you were at work.
I don't see nothing.
Well, yeah, nah. I mean, listen. Whatever flows, I'm down to talk. I just, I'm just keeping an eye on the time, just because of people's attention spans on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
How about
we could also do like specific things, like, oh, what'd you think about this?
Top 3 things you like.
Like
top 3 things you didn't like.
That works too.
All right, so first
I want to know your overall though. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, overall
all right.
as well.
So let me go.
Okay.
So my overall, I would definitely say that, like, I think easily, like the Neo Saban seasons have been like very iffy at best, right?
Yeah.
I know, like, personally, I was a huge fan of like Dino Charge season 1, but even that has flaws. I think that generally speaking, this season might be the best season since RPM, but that's not necessarily, that's not saying it's RPM level. I wouldn't say it's an S tier season.
Right.
But like, cause like if I had to give it a rating, I would probably say close to Isaac, maybe like 7.5, like an 8 range, like in that range. Like I haven't really given it a number, but like, I feel like the way that they handled the story, the characters and stuff like that is a lot closer to what I feel like they could have been doing. Like, I feel like it was a lot closer to like reaching its full potential because they weren't writing around the Sentai anymore.
Right.
You know, I feel like that was the cool, like one of the coolest things, and this isn't like, we're going to get into this, but it's like just the fact that like Rangers could pilot Zords that weren't their color.
That
Just
shit
like,
was kind of cool.
It's
I
just
like that.
just conceptually, it makes sense, but you never really saw that happen a lot. And just like, but either way, like, I do feel like in the middle, like there's like an episode maybe that I felt like was a little like loosey goosey in terms of like it's
started to fall off a little bit.
You're talking about the Rock episode.
Yeah. That's exactly the one. I was like,
that was definitely the worst episode.
I was like, this episode feels like the filler episode. It
felt like a Dino Fury episode.
Yes, it really did. It was still fun, but like it was definitely like the one with the least like plot progression. But like overall, like I was happy with how they treated it. You know what it felt like to me? It felt like a season finale stretched out.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Single arc.
It was basically just like, what if we did Countdown to Destruction but 10 episodes worth, And granted, it's like I still feel like the Countdown to Destruction had a higher stakes scale to it because of how they showed the conflict taking place. Like that was one of my issues, and we'll get into that. But I wish they did more showing than telling, but I understand why they couldn't show as much. But I still felt pretty satisfied by the end. It's like, if like when it was all said and done, I was like, if this is it, then I can live, like I won't be super sad about it. But yeah, we definitely have a lot to discuss because a lot of shit happened.
All right, Tech, take it away.
Oh, brother. I have a ton to say, man. I wrote down so many notes and like all that.
So what did you think overall?
Overall, I feel like we're all in the same place. Like I definitely say like a 7.5 to 8.
Yeah.
Like I went into it, like you guys know, like I'm not particularly I feel like I'm one of the harder critics of everybody. Like I'm not really that high on a lot of the Neo 7 series. Like I really don't like almost any of them except for like Dino Charge, like JD was saying. And like but like Dino Fury, I thought, like I was telling you guys, like I kind of skipped the second season and like the second half of Dino Fury, and I kind of like ran through it yesterday. So like it was cool to see that. And like I thought that the plot, like we were talking about this a little bit earlier, like the plot of Dino Fury is not bad. It's just the writing at certain points that kind of make it annoying, like the things that they do and like the character interactions, like the corniness and stuff. But like the actual plot is like pretty interesting and cool.
Yeah.
And like I feel like they got to cut a lot of the goofy stuff in this and just focus on the plot more. and because like the plot is strong. So like seeing that was really cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and another thing too, like I feel like a lot of characters kind of got their saving grace in this.
Yes.
Because like I thought Ollie was annoying as hell in Dino Fury.
Yeah.
Ollie was an MVP this season.
Like, I disagree, but
he was a good character.
I disagree.
And like honestly, like I was not super high on Zato in Dino Fury. I thought he was kind of boring, but like in this, I thought Zato was the best character.
Yeah, I think like Zato was kind of OD.
I still disagree.
His plot was the most interesting thing in the entire. Like, what's up with him? Like, what's going on with Zato?
Yeah.
That is true. I will agree with that.
Like,
I agree with that.
That was the most interesting thing in the whole thing. Like,
I thought the MVP was Javi. This guy sacrificed his arm, son.
Bro,
Javi definitely improved as well too. He grew on me as a character overall.
I liked a lot. The only thing that I will say, it's not really their fault, but like I wish that I wasn't so like tuned in as a Power Rangers fan. Cause like if I didn't know anything about this season, I feel like I would have liked it way more.
I feel
like
that.
we knew stuff like Amelia being the Red Ranger. Like we already knew like the plot twist with Ollie turning evil. It wasn't like
we guessed it.
Like, we kind of guessed it, and it was kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Like, we knew like there was gonna be an Orange Ranger. Like we already knew like all these things that if we went in completely blind, we would like it even more. I feel like, which kind of sucks. You know, it's not their fault, but you know, it's kind of what comes with being. Because like back in the day, I wasn't a tuned in Power Ranger fan at all. Like when I watched that show on TV, that was what I saw.
Same.
For the first time.
Same.
But like now that we know all this, it kind of took away from it a little bit. But like none of it was like in a bad way.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah. Before we like get into the nitty gritty, I'll definitely say overall I enjoyed it a lot. Zed was OD. Master Zed was.
Master Zed was.
He looked crazy.
He did.
My thing, because like, cool. I'll agree with what JD said before, because what he said about seeing and not, like the problem of seeing and not telling was a big problem that I had with Zed and Dino Fury. Like I thought they were like talking about, oh, he's the baddest man ever. Like, oh, he's so bad. We didn't see him do anything. Like, shut up, show us that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I feel like in this, they actually did. They didn't as much as we would have liked, but they did show more. Like he actually like kind of got down. We saw like him do things, and like he had a plan that was actually surprisingly OD.
Very
I
OD.
Enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was definitely one of the bigger plot twists that actually had me engaged. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, before I get more into it, because I'm already talking the most, so I'll let you get into it.
Yeah, really quick.
Yeah, like, I'll say 8. Sure.
All right. Yeah, for me, if I had to give it a number out of 10, I'm like, my mind is sitting somewhere between a 7 and a 7.5. Because like, even though it was like quite, I mean, the way it was even given, it definitely gave off vibes of like, this could be it, right? I mean, we thought that was space, and it was a different era back then than it is now. But overall, like, I was watching it trying to see if I could pick out anything that was either like wrong or like any kind of like little plot holes. Like at the very beginning, when the one monster was like, oh, I found Zed. I'm like, I thought he just escaped at the end of Dino Fury. I didn't know he was crystallized or something like that, because that's what she said.
That happened in the middle.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. The green morphing master. Yeah, like they had a fight.
Right. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah.
Well, no, that wasn't the end. That wasn't the end.
Yeah, because like I remember, because like I was like, wait a minute, I thought he literally would just escape to try to find his staff. But then I forget that they come back around to it, and like, but yeah. So my point is that like I was kind of looking to see what I could point out that was like either weird or something. And honestly, like there wasn't that many things that was necessarily off. I was actually more surprised because when they mentioned Zordina, and I was like, wait, what? And then next thing you know, they're shouting out the Shogun Zord. I was like,
yeah. I had to do a fact check on that. I was like, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I was
son.
like, oh yeah.
Yeah, so like overall, like it was cool, and it was weird in a sense, like not, and this is not a bad thing, but like they definitely flipped the script on us a little bit with some of the predictions that we had in place, like with Blue becoming bad, like Ollie being the bad, one of the bad characters. Even with that, like I didn't expect them to take as long as they did to kind of let that story play out.
Yeah.
Before they inevitably bring him back onto the good side. Like he had a whole ass evil Ranger's form prior to him even getting his Cosmic Fury blue.
Yeah, that shows OD.
Yeah, so I thought that was sick.
He was in the Cosmic Fury suit.
Yeah.
Let me tell you all this. If this season proved anything, okay, this season solidified. Okay, like if you didn't know already or wasn't convinced before, this season solidified Billy Cranston as the greatest Blue Ranger in the history of Power Rangers.
Yeah. Honestly, no, it was a gift to have Billy be as involved as he was. It wasn't like some cheap ass appearance. He wasn't just there at episode 1. You never see him. He's like involved. Like
he threw hands. And the illest part about it too, not only did he throw hands, but his character, it's like he never left. Like he was doing and saying things that you're like, this is the character.
This is Billy.
Like it didn't feel like when Jason came back in Beast Morphers. like this dude gave a fuck. Like, I really appreciated that.
Yeah. It never felt overbearing too. Like he didn't like overstep his boundaries. Like he was like, Amelia's the Red Ranger, like this is not my team. Like he never had to like outright say it, but like he kind of got the vibe that he like respected. Like I like that a lot.
That's the sign of a great Blue Ranger. You know, sometimes you don't need to be red to lead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like he could have overstepped his boundary. Like, man, y'all are new. Whatever. I'm fucking Billy. Like, let me take over. But he never did that.
Yeah, like the fact that he like let them rock was definitely something I noticed too. Yeah. Where I was just like, cool. He was a mentor, but he was like a hands off. Like, I'll steer you if you need steering, but yeah, I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna take over the team. I'm not gonna force myself into any type of situation. Like, to be fair, like he was concerned about his own team half the time. He was
actually, like at the end, he was like, "All right, guys, I gotta dip." I low-key thought that scene was funny as hell. He was like, "All right, I gotta dip," and they didn't like say it, but Amelia was probably like pissed. She was like, "All right, fuck you then." Like, what you mean?
Yeah, but the one thing I wanted to throw out there before we get into like nitty gritty, like whatever you guys wrote down, was that I got caught off guard because like I was watching it with very open eyes, even though I was like looking for things as well. Because like I enjoyed Dino Fury to a degree. I didn't think it was terrible. Cosmic Fury definitely was way better, but I don't know about you guys, but when Amelia got Dawn the Red Ranger, I got emotional for her. I really felt that shit. And I was like,
it felt hurt.
You could see it in her reaction and like the rest of the team. And they're like, yo, you look good in red. And it makes sense. And they're like backing up her reason as to why she's it. And even Billy, back to Billy. Billy's like, no, that shit chose you. And I'm like,
charge.
I was like, yo, I feel for this girl so hard. Like, and I was so proud. Like, I was like, damn, like I felt like a super fan in that moment because I was like, damn, like we're all watching this as adults and shit, we didn't have no freaking Red Ranger females back in the day like that on that type of level, So it was really cool to see that. I really loved that. That was probably one of my favorite moments is when stuff like that happens, like, and this has nothing to do with this, but it always reminds me of Sky when in SPD when he got red. That shit will always be one of the most OD moments in Power Rangers history for me.
Easy.
When that happened, I'm like, yo, no, when they were throwing hands as the Cosmic Rangers.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, yo, I need these motherfuckers to battle for the grid, yo.
Oh, please.
I need them.
You know where the hell they're going.
Straight up, I know, but I'm like, damn, this is a shame, yo, because we even have one Cosmic Fury Ranger. I would have been okay with a Cosmic Fury Ranger after watching
Zenith Ranger. Free.
Not even. Not even.
Give me Zenith Ranger.
As long as it's not Fern, I do not care.
Yeah. Fern would have tripping.
That's in my cons list. That's for sure.
I'm not gonna lie. The suits kind of grew on. Like I wasn't. I'll say this. By the end of the show, I wasn't thinking about how the suits looked, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it wasn't like a focal point anymore.
Yeah, like I wasn't like it didn't look weird or didn't look off to me. Like it just looked like an evolution of the Dino Fury. Now, granted, it's like I still feel like I prefer the original suits to a degree. Like I feel like they could have incorporated a little bit more, like in the chest area, but like I wasn't. It wasn't a thing where I was like, oh, these suits look horrible. It's distracting. In some ways, like I felt like the helmets looked kind of fire because like they had like a deeper color to them,
and they had some accents on there too.
Yeah, like it was kind of cool.
Was anybody else disappointed that we didn't get to see KO-35 or Aquatar? They really do too much exploring. I'm like, yo, so went back to the same planet.
So here's the thing, right? I'm of two minds with that, right? Because on one hand, like a lot of people who are Star Wars fans, they bring up the fact that like Star Wars feels like a small universe because they always go back to Tatooine. They always go back to the same places, right?
Right. And
here it's like, okay, they gave us like some planets they went to in Dino Fury, some new ones that we hadn't seen before. So it's kind of like growing the universe.
Yeah.
But I was like, damn, I still kind of wish they went to like KO-35 or fucking Marinoy, specifically Marinoy, because I feel like Marinoy. And then like, you know, but I can live with it. It's just like, you know, I guess the comics will have to do that.
Comics has us in good hands.
Yeah,
like when it came to this, like I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of wasn't even thinking of those like areas, like surprisingly, right? Because like KO-35 is a big one. Like I would have loved to have seen that, but they were kind of smart not to go, because imagine they go, no Andros, no Zane, no mention of no Astronema. Imagine that shit. Then we would have
Dark Spectre was brought up though. Dark Spectre was brought up.
I like that.
Yeah,
I definitely peeped. Also, I'm not sure if y'all peeped too. Countdown to Destruction.
They like I said, they named that Countdown to Destruction multiple times. Like the literal final plot is Countdown to Destruction.
All of the references were on point.
Yeah, I can appreciate those.
You could tell they respected the previous season.
I definitely peeped, man.
Yeah,
I definitely peeped.
All right, so Tech, what are some of the things you wrote down that you want us to talk about real quick?
I can't wait till I go.
I want us to just like. Because I'm sure there's a lot, so we gotta just fucking speed.
Like I said, Tech. Look, what I did with my notes, Tech. I literally have an honorable mention for something I liked, and an honorable mention what I didn't like, and then three things that I like and three things that I don't like.
Yeah,
I just got like little notes I put here and there, like as I was watching it. One thing that kind of bothered me was that I guess I can see one thing I don't like. Yo, the Morph Masters were some lames, bro.
They were like that, yeah. They were like that
so much.
They got packed up so easy.
I was like, yo, we're finally gonna see them do something.
Nope.
I was like,
there's a vacuum cleaner on them, so that clean sweep.
I'm telling you, they looked like extras from that one dude from Time Force, the gold dude. I forget who's the scientist turned into a robot. I forget his name.
Oh, I know you're.
But they all look like they're extensions of him, but they're not gold. So, yeah, I feel that 100%.
I guess another thing, but another separate thing. So like, I mean, we all kind of thought it would happen. I thought it was a real missed opportunity to not use men.
I'll agree with that one.
They were like teasing it, and I was like, come on.
She was there in the Zord.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like, well, it takes place after Once and Always.
That was my thing. Like, but that's another confusing thing too, because like the ending, you would have thought that it was leading into Once and Always, because the way that Billy was acting, you was like, wait, that was Zordon? Like, oh, I'm about to try to get Zordon.
I mean,
that's
I feel like he had the same final thought in both.
True.
You know, like because like the both Once and Always and this kind of end with Zordon still out there. Or maybe
yeah, but it would have made more sense if this was leading into that. But I don't know. I thought that was confusing, but whatever.
I didn't think of it that way, but I could see why you would say that. Yeah.
Because like, why didn't he think of that before? Like, I think like that would have made him. Oh, maybe I can try to bring back Zordon, and then that goes into.
Wow, if that tied directly to once.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I thought. I thought, oh, this must take place.
Oh,
before.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought. But I guess apparently Simon on Twitter said that it does take place after, so that's not even.
Yeah.
So like, whatever.
Yeah.
But my thing was like, I didn't dislike Fern, but it would have been really cool. Well, my thing is like, she wasn't bad. I'll say that. Like, she wasn't like extraordinary or anything, but like she was just really there. I don't know. Like, I didn't dislike her.
I didn't dislike her either.
Like she was just there.
Like I felt like
she was there, yeah.
I felt like at the beginning, there's something with her ADR that sounded like weird to me at first, but
there was definitely points where ADR was weird in this.
Yeah,
show.
But by the like middle end, I was like, okay, she's kind of like the chipper newbie on the group.
Yeah,
you know, which is appropriate. You know, you kind of want a little bit to refresh the team. You know.
Yeah. The way she got her powers was goofy as hell.
That was
I like
on my
that it
list.
was so long though.
That's on my list.
Yeah, it was kind of, I liked that it was so long that as well. Like I wasn't expecting that.
I think going off of what JD said about her ADR, I definitely feel that because there were some moments. I mean, even when she was just speaking, she sounded like this, like some of the time.
It sounded like out of place.
Annoying, son.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Same from. I get what Isaac's talking about. Like they were doing a lot of like memes and like viral stuff. Like that was all she said, literally the whole show.
No,
Yeah.
the universe is about to be destroyed or taken over by evil or whatever, and she's over here laughing about it.
Yes, that's literally what she was doing, man. I was like, nah, girl, you need to stop that shit.
And then she was a ranger by accident, just like Amelia was chosen to be the Red Ranger. She wasn't chosen to be shit. She was just, hey, I'm here, I'm holding a morpher, and now all of a sudden I'm a Power Ranger.
It had the reaction off of the dinosaur.
That the power, that the power chose her in that moment. You know, because she was trying to be heroic.
The power didn't choose her at that moment. It was literally just default, like, or you're holding the morpher, and she got pushed or whatever, and then all of a sudden
she didn't do the sequence. You know, it was just like a happenstance. You know.
It was, yeah. When you put it that way, it definitely devalues her debut as a Power Ranger. And then, but you know what? I appreciate her realism with the character, and what I mean by that is that like she didn't automatically become like this super OD character out of nowhere with how goofy she was. She remained goofy and was acknowledging the brutally honest truth, which was like, she's like, I've been a Power Ranger for like 5 minutes, so I liked that a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. See, like if you're honest, I can mess with you a little bit more than someone that's just like, oh yeah, like people that are like, yo, I'm in the Royal Rumble, I went through 30 people, but I'm number 29, head ass type shit. That shit, I hate that in wrestling when that happens. But yeah, so what else you got?
Well, I was gonna say like kind of piggybacking off the Fern thing. Like if we're talking about like negatives, I feel like a lot of characters got buffed in terms of their character development, but I feel like the one who got nerfed was Izzy.
Oh, 100%.
Yo, low key, I agree with that shit.
Because Izzy, like, you know, in the Dino Fury, I feel like Izzy was a standout, but I feel like here, like, her character arc was basically like, I don't want Fern to get hurt.
Yeah,
and then when she joins the team, she was just the concerned girlfriend, and then once she joins the team, it's like she didn't really have anything like a moment.
True. Dog, like, I forgot like, she was there.
Like, I feel like everybody else. I feel like literally everybody else had a moment, including Fern.
I forgot she was there.
That they were, you know, they kind of kept leading into that, right? Like, oh, she's, you know, I don't want her to be a ranger, and then she became a ranger. But I did like the conclusion to that because she said like, I forgot that's why I liked you to begin with.
Yeah,
that like badass too.
So
I did like that though.
The resolution
but it still would have been cool
fine,
if they like
but
did it.
It was cute. It was nice.
But just like in terms of like Izzy, because besides Izzy having that whole, you know, relationship plotline in Dino Fury, she also had like just standout one-liners or standout action scenes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like she didn't have any of those, so I felt like she's the one character that got nerfed a little bit in the transitional. But everybody else, I felt like was better.
Yes, especially Ion. Ion, my boy.
Ion got mad screen time. I felt like that spotlight.
I think. My bad. I think Ion was good, but like his whole character arc was just focused on Zato though too. It's not like he had much else to say except for we gotta save Zato. We got.
That's his boy.
Exactly.
From like millions of years. Come on now.
This dude went to find them in the tree, son.
But they brought it back to the prophecy too, which I thought was interesting because like when they brought that shit up in the original, I was like, they just made some shit. Like I didn't think that
that episode was so bad.
But them kind of bringing that shit around again, I was like, okay, I see. Like that's pretty interesting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then like for him to have that like pivotal conversation with who we find out to be, you know, the essence of Zordon essentially, it's kind of OD.
That was the moment of the whole show, because I was like, what? He said what? Made the power what? I was hyped. I was hyped for that. I should have known because of those blue eyes. I was like, why his eyes blue?
Yeah,
what do you mean he's not Zato?
I wasn't even thinking about it, and I was just like,
even the joint where like when Zato finally went up to the morphing grid and like he was like holding on to him and like why is he running?
That was crazy.
I was like, no, I thought he died. I thought he died with Zato. I was like, bro, are you serious? They lost 2 Rangers.
I thought it was cool because I thought like at first I was like, oh, it's kind of OD. He's going to take him back and bring him back to the living world. I was like, that's kind of gonna be a cop out, but like whatever, that's kind of cool. But I like that they didn't cop out Zato's death.
Nah,
I think the way that they actually handled the Zordon thing is pretty smart because they did it in a way that was just subtle enough to where there's enough to unpack. So like when Billy has his revelation, like there's a good chance a lot of the viewers are having that same revelation. It's just like, oh wait, what? Like that, like you know, if you're not thinking about it, because like that, I will admit I wasn't thinking about it because in the previous season Izzy said may the power protect you, so I was like maybe that's just a thing that like people know about. But then when they kind of like go over the detail, I'm like, oh, like because he did say like you're seeing what you want to see, you know. So and I was like, oh snap, like that's fucking Zordon.
Yo, and that was such a, when you think of it like that, that's actually a super smart way to even shoot that scene, because in the television show, Zordon has never taken form outside of like the movies in the 90s, but he looked hella shriveled up in that John.
Like it technically wasn't canon, but
that sure, yeah.
But it's still funny, but that's the only time we've seen like a physical manifestation of Zordon, right? Yeah. And here it's like we still technically haven't, but you know, it's like you know, seeing his essence like take over somebody in that kind of way is very interesting.
That was and it leaves me to believe that at least the way that they wrote this, if things work out and they do come back with whatever season that's going to end up happening in the future, that it could possibly be a plot point that they revisit. That'd be kind of cool. But I'm just more appreciative of the fact that they at least did that. So that way, whenever we do come back around, there is something to pick up from where we left off.
It was an open-ended.
Yeah. So I did like that a lot. But in relation to, because we're on the Zordon discussion, they went to Eltar, right? So the thing that this is kind of like a pro and a con for me. It's weird. I'm just gonna put it out how it makes sense in my mind. I loved how they went to Eltar, but I didn't like how we didn't see no Eltarians. This could have been like the perfect opportunity to do that, and obviously the one thing that's like very constant in my mind seeing this, as I'm like, bro, they do this in the comics, right? And I'm like, fuck, like I was like, this could also be teases thrown from Zed's perspective, like, oh yeah, this is like, I'm very familiar with this planet, like something along those lines, and we didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
So
where was
all
the security
in
in there too? Like, I'm like, this
all,
is it?
yeah. Like where, and that's the thing. That goes back to what I was saying. Like, how is it so easy? And they had nothing in place for Zed to kind of like ambush at first. Because again, comics showed us Eltar is OD. They have a whole system. They have a whole like
army.
legion and army and everything. Like they got levels to it.
I mean,
it would have been
the second
so
time
cool.
they got taken over too, because you would think that they learned after Countdown to
Well,
Destruction.
yeah, right. So I'm like, damn, like that's another huge missed opportunity. You know, like I don't need them to revive Zordon or anything like that. I mean, obviously that would be crazy, but like imagine if we saw other characters that were like in the suits that we saw in the comics in this, even if it was for a little bit, like even if it's for a few shots, and it's just like a little video package of Zed just fucking up Eltarians, so that we now know how he was able to just overthrow and just kind of just be in his chair waiting to get all the the morphin master power, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's
so,
like I feel like that goes back into like the show don't tell thing, because like
yeah,
when you think about how Power Rangers in Space did it, right? Like anytime they would have to do with something like really big, like you would literally see like Divatox, like, you know, with the, you know, I forgot what the Piranatrons, like beating people up. And you would see like the resistance losing. You would see like KO-35, like people there like strategizing, like trying to come up with plans. You would see, you know, especially in the final episode, like you saw the planets getting taken over. Whereas like here, it's like you had an idea because you would see an overview, or you'd hear like that news report of like, oh, like the Rangers have lost, but you don't see it. And I feel like that, you know, when it comes to how they showed Eltar, when it comes to how they showed a lot of that conflict, is one of the bigger missed opportunities. And granted, it's like, I know why, because like that, like budget wise, it probably would have been ridiculous. Even just to get suit actors, right? But like, I feel like, you know, they could, I really wish they were able to at least like use some stock footage of the Rangers getting beat. You know,
oh yeah, I see what you mean.
You know, I just want to, I want to feel that sense of, damn, like we're at, you know, like, you know, things are going down, you know, because when you think about any type of media that you've watched where the stakes are really high, like it's when you watch the heroes that you follow lose sometimes. So it's like, that's why Countdown to Destruction is OD. That's why a lot of that era season finales, it's like you would see the Rangers get beat down, like the Zord's getting destroyed.
The stress,
X-Men Days of Future Past, like part of what made that movie for OD is watching the X-Men get killed over and over, you know? So it's stuff like that where, you know, they could have brought up the drama just so when you do get to that final episode, like you have a little bit more of like that endorphin release.
Yeah.
And you still get it, it's just like a lot of it is like imaginary. You know?
Right. Yeah. So, all right, what else? I know there's more.
All right, let me just go through my list real quick, you know, because I know we got time. So let me just go.
We can touch on everything. It's all good.
Yeah. So honorable mention. Okay, what I liked. Morphing in outer space, time to save the human race. You already know I thought the song was fire.
The song actually, the song isn't bad.
So I never skipped the intro. I never skipped it.
I did for time, not gonna lie.
Unbelievable. That's disrespectful.
It's only I don't remember if I did, because I might have used it like as a, you know, oh, I'll take a drink or have a snack.
Step out, use the bathroom.
I mean, you were busy in another country, so Tech got no excuse. So I know he watched it.
I will say that because I remember when we were talking about the thing. No, it's nothing about to do with the thing. It's just the actual opening sequence. Like, I think it was cool how, like, because I didn't notice it when we talked about it last time, how, like, when they showed all the Rangers and, like,
oh, yeah, they would
Ollie
change
was
it
the
every
only one.
season.
They did.
Yeah, that was cool. But, like, Ollie was the only one that didn't smile. And I didn't notice that when you guys mentioned it. And I was like, oh, shit, that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it was actually OD when you get to the last episode, he smiles.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even beat that.
The intro literally changes for every major thing that happens in the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say I appreciated that they did that. Had a little live update every time.
I was like,
yeah, I did.
They were smart. They were smart about that. They didn't want to spoil things, even though they kind of did with Zato a little bit. They once he was gonna be featured, he was in the thing.
Yeah,
that's like one of my pet peeves of Power Rangers sometimes, because like even when you watch like Space, like first episode, you already see them with the freaking powers.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yo, so I did have that as honorable mention. You already knew. Honorable mention for what I disliked: the morphs. I hate how they didn't show them each individual and everything was together.
Oh, you mean? Oh, okay. You mean like so they didn't do one-on-one?
Yeah, they could have at least done it for one episode.
Yeah. I didn't actually notice that.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I like seeing individual morphs, especially if it's like the first time they're morphing. The morph also didn't look different from their Dino Fury morph anyway, but still it would have been cool to see it with the suits.
I like the flip thing that they did.
Yeah, me too. Like
I
actually think that the morphing sequence, having seen it a few times, is cleaner than the Dino Fury.
They should have shown
I still think it's long. It's still long as hell.
Way too long.
It's still way too long. It's still it's still way too long. They still say too much. Like the whole link to morphing grid. I wish they never put that in because it's just too on the nose.
So
like
corny, bro.
It's like it's morphin time, link to morphing grid, and then they say something else after that.
There was one thing. This was
they should have just said cosmic orb. That's
episode 9 or episode 10 when Javi was holding the staff. And it was time to morph. It just disappeared. Nowhere to be found. Not on the ground. Nowhere. Like it's gone. I peeped that.
Bro, you know how it goes in Power Rangers. They just going like this. Things
They'll
appear, disappear.
Everything, bro. The hair will change. I'm used to that.
One thing that I really, really liked, and remember, I touched upon this a little bit in one of the previous episodes.
Before we move on, how did you guys feel about Billy's morph?
Man, I wish
it's the same morph from
it was
from
fine.
Once and Always, isn't it?
It was fine.
It was kind of weird.
It was fine.
It was like they'll be morphing and they wouldn't even be. They'll be like halfway through their morph. He'll just Triceratops. Like what?
Yeah, no. I will say with Billy's morph specifically, it was like
it though.
I get it. Like they didn't want it to be like so Mighty Morphin or whatever. Like this is a Cosmic Fury show, but I still felt like, listen, this is Billy. Give this man his proper ass fucking sequence, all right? No questions asked because he deserves as much. And the other thing, when he delivered it, he sounded like he was like, man, I just did this type shit. He was like, Triceratops. Like, go watch how he does it in Mighty Morphin. Triceratops. He at least got that little vigor in there in his voice.
Even though his had the fastest morph, because Zato said that time it moves differently, it was at the same time, and we didn't even know about it.
I just thought it was weird.
So they entered the morphing grid as Billy entered the morphing grid too. So in reality, it was the same speed because time works differently in the morphing grid. They enter it and then leave it after they morph.
Oh yeah, I get. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I get what you mean. Like what we see is what they're going through happens in like seconds, but not or less.
Yeah.
But
it's like the whole morphic sequence is happening in the morphing grid.
Yes. It's just funny when you see the memes of like what the villains are looking like when you have to wait for the Power Rangers. I love that. That shit's actually funny though.
It is. So, didn't they play on that in RPM?
I think so.
They did.
Or because I know they did. They talked about the explosion, but did they talk about like the time it takes? I know. One of the seasons made jokes about like
that. I don't remember specifically.
Yeah, I don't know about specific. I feel like they did, but I don't remember the episode. But I don't know.
All right, so Isaac, go back to what you were gonna bring up.
Yeah,
I touched upon this in the previous episode. Zords finally got some love. Yo, every episode, Zords. Like
I felt like the Zords were an afterthought.
They were in every episode.
I felt like they were pretty.
They were integral.
I feel like
they were right there. They actually used them like as actual weapons. Like, okay, we get into Zords now. We can't handle. We get into Zords. Quick and easy. you know, like they use the Zords in all the forms too. On top of that, and the Dragon Zord was OD.
Bro, the Dragon Zord when that shit debuted. It did the thunder. It did the Red Dragon Thunder Zord thing. Did you see it?
Oh,
like the animation in front of the moon. It was exactly the same. I was like, "Yo, that's OD."
I didn't even peep. I don't know why I look so familiar. I'm like,
"Yo,
I know I haven't seen this before."
Like, because it's from the credits of season 2.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember.
Where the Red Dragon,
like the Red Sun or something. And
I was like, "Yo, that is OD." Like I was freaking out when I saw it, but I forgot to like post it.
Now hold on, pause. I have to ask this. I cannot be the only one that has this internal reaction. They gotta stop using the term Dragon Zord, okay?
Yes, I agree.
There's only one
okay, because every time they do, I immediately go.
That's not the Dragon Zord.
But it's not the Dragon Zord.
It's not
the fucking Dragon Zord. You know what I'm saying?
It's a Dragon Zord. You know what I thought it was gonna be? I thought it was gonna be Serpentera at first.
I did too.
I
was thinking that. I was like
Serpentera, then even the Red Ranger Zord.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't, and so I'm like, listen, they can't keep having these cop out Zord names because they did the same thing in Ninja Steel. The blue one was the Dragon Zord, and I'm like, stop that, because that's it. Yo, if anything, they need to at least call it Zord Dragon or some shit like that. They need to do. They can't. They just can't do it unless it's unless they have that fucking. It's not a Dragon Zord. Stop it.
That's a fact.
Missed
opportunity to having them at the end.
Just
they showed the Astro Megazord, but they ain't show no Dragon Zord. Missed opportunity.
No Big Shogun. No Super Train. no Q-Rex. None of the killers.
Yeah, like it was kind of funny that they like. I know we're jumping around, but it's like of the Zords that they put in, like the Astro Megazord had to be.
Yeah.
Dino Megazord had to be there.
Absolutely.
The Lost Galaxy Megazord.
That was a nice surprise.
Man,
I like seeing that.
It's been in space.
Because my first thought was, but then I thought about it and I was like, well, it's a space-based season.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
That's why
Lost Galaxy.
But then after that, it was Beast Morphers and Ninja Steel.
I didn't even know what those two Zords
were.
I thought the last one was from freaking Overdrive.
I paused it. Yeah. At first I thought it was Operation Overdrive, but then I was like, oh no, that's that clunky ass Beast Morphers Megazord, and then
I had no idea.
It's been a while since I watched Beast Morphers. So
I mean, I'm sure that they put those in because, like, you know, technically the Dino Charge team, the Dino Fury team and the Beast Morphers team have been in close contact.
Yeah, Grid Battle Force and all that.
So that made sense. And I guess the Ninja Steel one maybe because Mick. Which we didn't talk about.
I got a quick aside about that. Like, that I didn't understand. So, like, did this take place before the end of Beast Morphers?
It's after.
I thought that the Red Ranger was the commander at the end.
He is. Wasn't he? He is.
But he wasn't. It was Commander Shaw still.
Well, I mean,
I think Tech found a plot hole.
I don't know if that's a plot hole, but I was just confused.
I mean, the reality. So here's my.
Because she was in Dino Fury too, though.
Yeah, she was. But my two sides of that is that because, what was the character's name?
Devin. Yeah,
because Devin is an active ranger, maybe she has to hold down the
maybe
fort
she took
wall.
back. Okay.
Yeah, and if the Rangers got captured.
Man, I don't even remember him becoming the commander of that shit.
It was the very last episode.
It was the very end.
That was his epilogue.
Oh, I don't remember that at all, but it is what it is.
It was kind of dumb.
It's probably an easy explanation, like you just said, like Mans wasn't needed. And they did mention a bunch of Ranger teams were like fighting and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of the show didn't, or Tell didn't show type shit, so missed opportunity.
Yeah, but that's kind of my theory on that.
I guess this is another aside too. I don't want to take away from if Isaac's done. I guess we can come back to this, but how'd you guys feel about them not really showing that many other Ranger teams?
That was fine.
I was just thinking that, actually.
That was fine.
I think
that was fine. They showed Ninja Steel. Just throwing that out there.
I was completely okay because I feel like it would have obviously like took away from Cosmic Fury a little bit.
Yeah.
And like, if they're not gonna have the actors, I don't even want them to be there. Like, I don't want another legendary battle.
Exactly.
I don't want another grid connection.
That's why I was okay
like,
with it.
That,
Actually, I actually think this is the best way that they handled the cameos.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that I did like how they handled the Dino Charge one in Beast Morphers before before the triple Dino team up. When it was just Beast Morphers and Dino Charge, I thought that was cool. But like with this, you know what it felt like to me? It felt like the cameos were a lot closer to the Always a Chance cameos, or like the In Space ones, where it's just like, here's an episode where they have like, I know you're hearing all the motorcycles outside. I live in Queens. What can I say? Like, people are crazy out here. But it's like, but in space, like you had the episode where they go to, you know, and they're teaming up with Justin this episode, and then they're teaming up with
my boy
Adam this other episode, you know,
my boy.
And I felt like the cameos in this were a lot closer to that in terms of how the execution. Like, not saying it was as good as like Always a Chance, because that's like a god tier episode, but you know, you have your episode about the Dark Ranger, you know, which was fire.
Seeing Heckle was cool.
Yeah, it was just the novelty, you know, and even though like I'm not a huge Ninja Steel fan, but to see Mick, you know, use the powers, and he did it multiple times, it wasn't just once.
Yeah,
it was cool, you know.
I like that they didn't overuse them.
He piloted a Zord too, actually, which I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Adding more cameos, I feel, would have taken away from that cast who I think deserved to get some shine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm glad that I feel like they used just enough cameos.
Yeah, they only had 10 episodes, right?
Yeah.
Like, if we had more episodes, I feel like the only one, I feel like if we were gonna get somebody else, I feel like I would have liked to see like Doggy Crew.
Ooh, man, that would be kind of fire. I'm not gonna lie.
It did. Because remember, like, SPD gets established, like the SPD that we observe happens in 2025, but SPD existed before they got.
Yeah,
you know?
SPD's been around.
Space, okay.
Yeah.
But speaking of SPD, y'all heard, like, saw that whole thing about how they tried to set up that sanctuary. Yeah. They basically like, oh, we're gonna have all these aliens live in this city, so that explains why, you know, even though there was aliens there in the past, but like someone like in like Z's like backstory, there was aliens there too, and she was a kid, so that would have had to at least been 10 years before that. But that's a whole different.
That was cool.
On the topic of
that people always talk about.
Okay, yeah, on the topic of cameos, if I had to pick one person, it would have to be Adam, because I feel like first of all, I feel like we got hoed in Once and Always, because we saw him, he was there, SPA suited up, and I'm like, oh my god, he had lines and everything, had a mustache, like a whole goatee John. This is fresh Adam, right? And I'm like, oh my god, how great. I mean, listen, we had the fact that Billy mentioned Zach. I thought we were gonna see Zach in here too. Didn't see Zach. I was like, fuck, like that's crazy. How we gonna see Mechanic, freaking whack, and then dude from, and then Heckle, right? I'm like, all right, so they're getting like whoever the scraps of whoever they can manage to get for this 10 episode John. And I'm like, man, they got Billy. Imagine how OD it would be even if it was just for one episode. Adam came in with the SPA on, and he's like, looks like you guys could use some help. It's morphing time, or he does something.
It's like, we're gonna set, like, for example, during that last episode or whatever, when, you know, they're building their forces or whatever, like, they could have literally just filmed it at the same time they filmed Once and Always, just like an on the screen thing, just like SPA uniform still. Like, hey, we're sending some forces, you know, like,
yeah,
I don't know, like, it would have been nice just to utilize that, you know.
Yeah, but I'm definitely with you guys on being well past the point of, like, unless you get the actor, don't give us all of these no name or whatever, like all the characters that we know, like helmeted, and then being like, oh yeah, like all the teams are here
I hate
bullshit. I hate that. I'm actually glad that they didn't do that, even though that goes along with a lot of telling and not showing. They did tell a lot, because Billy definitely mentioned like there's a lot of Ranger teams, even my team, and like no Min, no Adam, no Zach, none of that. But yeah, I feel like that's a direct response to the fans from them.
Yeah.
Because that's like which poison do we pick? Because this is a very interesting point when writing and when producing like a show like this, especially for Power Rangers. It's like, you got all these fans watching it that are like our age range, that like I'm sure there's a lot of those fans that are very sus with their opinions, and they will literally want all these things, but then they're not really realistic with it. And like we understand how this shit works, but like, as cool, yes, for a shot, yeah, sure, it's cool to see all these Rangers, but it's like, bro, if they're not taking their helmets off to confirm who they are, don't want it. And so they went that approach, and I'm okay with that. I'm officially okay with that. It does suck to not see more, especially when they're hyping that up towards the end, because like Billy's big surprise was like those 5 Zords that came in to help at the end. I was expecting another Megaforce situation, to be honest. That's what I thought we were gonna see. I thought they were gonna do the thing where they got a shot of this team fighting over here and that team fighting over there, or even if I thought that they were gonna take a moment to even go all over to the different parts of the world where they were affected, to see like what team was taking care of that section and so on and so forth. I thought like that would have been cool, but we didn't see that either. But again, like it's like, I don't know, it's like a double-edged thing where it's just like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They decided not to, so I'm okay with it. I guess what it really comes down to is like, had they have gotten the right people, that shit would have been fire. I would have Adam. That Adam, yes, just Adam. Johnny on Bosch, please. But yeah. So what else y'all got? Is that it?
So like,
I'll tell you this. I'm gonna tell you all this, right? And something that bothers me. Okay, something that really bothers me. Because we all know this is potentially the last season of Power Rangers. Potential. Before any reboot, if a reboot even happens.
Yeah.
Okay? The fact that the last words that we have for Power Rangers, the Power Rangers franchise, is cool, coolio, bothers me.
Are you serious?
Oh, man.
Hey man, they had to send it off with a nice happy-go-lucky Power Rangers moment.
Yeah.
They had a concert, and Zato said that he would always watch over them, and then that was essentially a call. I'm not even gonna give them shit for that, because that was a callback to Dino Fury when he learned those terms.
Yeah.
The song was fire. The hobby was cool. That song was fire. They could have ended it with that.
But I had Dino Thunder vibes with that.
Can we talk about how that man never got his arm back?
He really did.
How can he get his arm back, though? It's gone.
Yeah, his arm got ripped off. He wasn't getting that shit back. What do you mean?
I thought
like, for sure.
Yo, he looks familiar. He's over here morphed and everything. You can see his arm. Unmorphed. They see his arm too. It's like, yo, how is he gonna be able to hide that he's the Black Ranger?
That's what I'm saying. I thought for sure Zato, before he left, he was like, oh yeah, Ollie, let me get your arm back. But he did not do that shit, bro. I was like, damn, man.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. Why didn't he give him his arm back? That's funny as fuck. That's crazy.
But it sticks out like a sore thumb. I mean, I feel like Javi's characters became that much cooler without the arm, like I mentioned. Right? One thing I also did not like, Amelia she started out as a great leader, and then at the end, when she's like, look, I don't know, we don't have a plan, and by just coincidence, Zato to the rescue, I felt like, okay, I feel like it made her look very, very weak as the leader at that moment, because she should have listened to Billy.
Hold on.
Listen to Billy.
I have a good rebuttal for that. Zato Tommied her. That's what happened. Okay.
Coincidence. But it wasn't even planned.
I mean, Zato's the real leader. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's like in that moment, like he's still like. I feel like they did it in a way where it's not surprising. Like I wasn't offended by it, because like if anyone was going to have that moment, then it would be Zato.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I think that Zato. I mean, obviously Amelia's a Red Ranger, and like I even like that part where like he was saying like he was proud of her getting the Red Ranger power. And like a lot of that had to do with the fact that this man is like living on borrowed time. Like
yes,
he's basically already dead. And I think that was like,
yes.
like he was okay with all that shit. Like he was like, man, you got it, because I'm not gonna be here that long, yo. You got it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that he got that moment at the end.
Yeah, no, like I said, like he Tommied her, and not to like sound disrespectful, but like he essentially lost his power, lost his life, right? Comes back as a cosmic being. He's a morphin master without them confirming it. And of course, like he's still a part of his team for the time being. Like in natural fashion, whenever you're a character that was formerly a leader and you return and you're not the leader, you're always gonna have that leader moment at some point, whether it's for one episode or more than one. It's inevitable to happen because everybody looks at you and treats you with that kind of respect anyway. And so, of course, Amelia wasn't going to question Zato. I mean, Zato.
She's not going to question Zato. I get it. It was just too much of a coincidence, and that bothers me. It's just too much right place, right time type shit. Like, I'm not a fan of that when it's overused. Honestly, here it was overused.
I get what you mean,
if you were to say, I get what you're saying, too, but if you were to say, like, when Ollie came back, not going to lie, when Ollie became a Ranger again, he almost was like, he was taking the lead, for real. Because, like, I mean, that was kind of his thing.
He knows Zed the best, though, out of everybody. Yeah.
But, like, I remember when he came, I remember after, like, the scene with him going, oh, yeah, this is what we need to do. We need to do this. I was like, damn, maybe Ollie should have been a Red Ranger. I was like, if he didn't get taken evil, he might have got that shit, the way he moving.
You know, even because this is the last episode, one thing that really bothered me was, you know, other than Zed not fighting, how easy it was to defeat him. All you had to do was just convince him. Like, yo, listen,
you know,
this is
not the whole conversation. We could just talk about the last episode now, because I think that's a whole conversation.
Yeah, like I'm of two minds with the whole convincing Zed thing.
The Talk-no-Jutsu, even in Power Rangers,
I was literally thinking that. I was like, Talk-no-Jutsu once again. But it's like, on one hand, for Power Rangers, like, I kind of applaud them for going against expectations,
doing a different approach.
Yeah, because
giving them too much credit.
They win a different approach. Like, and like the thing is, it's like I said, I'm of two minds of it, because like on one hand, I could see how it's like a different approach. They went a way that, you know, it's a way. It is a way that a Ranger would try to come up with the situation and try to say, hey, like Zed could still be redeemed, you know. Like, you don't have to kill him, essentially. Like, they saying that without saying it. In that specific situation, though, like, it was like, you know, it was one of those things where I kind of was hoping we would have seen like a more like definitive and like epic finish to it.
My thing with that, I agree with you, but my thing with that, because even going back to Dino Fury, like when they first revived Zed, because like they said that like, all right, this Zed that we revived,
he's just a pure evil version. Yeah,
when he was the most evil, which is, you could probably assume it's like season 1 Zed before he like got the love potion or whatever.
Yeah,
and like when he was just straight up evil. So I'm like that guy was like, parents complained about him. They said that you got to tone him down a bit. Like, he's too evil. Like Zed was out here, and like maybe that guy was irredeemable. Like I didn't really love that much. Like it seemed kind of out of character for them to just try to reason with
me
him.
too.
Like, I guess
I was just like, because they're like, oh well, you can't do that. Like, because on paper it makes sense. I was like, you can't rule the universe if you're dead. Yeah. But it just seemed a little
almost childish, bro.
You know what it was? Like
weird
the way that I had
the ultimate sacrifice like Zordon, just the opposite evil.
That's a whole nother thing too. But we can get to that next. But the Zord, the Zed wave, I think that's a whole thing I want to talk about.
But it's like the way that I see it, it was like they like, so from what I understand, Cosmic Fury wasn't supposed to be 10 episodes, supposed to be more. And I feel like the finale is definitely one of the areas where that got shafted from the episode cut, you know, because it
might have been open
just so much stuff happened and they had to just get from point A to point B, and they were probably like, this is the best way we can do it in the time that they have, or like that fits into the story they're trying to tell. So that's the only way I was really able to like rationalize them doing that. And again, it's like I give them credit for trying to be creative, but I feel like they could have done it differently.
And then even like the principle of it saying that was the Zed when he was most evil, he wouldn't even have known Rita at that point.
Yeah,
right?
I was thinking the same thing. Like, I mean, he would have known Rita, but he wasn't in love, so he would his nightmare would have been serving her.
Right.
You know, or as his wife. That wasn't his wife.
At the time, yeah. So that's a plot hole for sure then, I guess. Yeah, I thought that moment, the saving grace to avoid the whole Talk-no-Jutsu like event to take place within that space, what I thought was gonna happen, because I was like, yo, what is going on? I thought Zato was gonna put them all in there and he was gonna make them all Morphin Masters to defeat Zed. That's what I thought was gonna happen, because it was him with all those powers, right? He absorbed all the Morphin Master powers, so he was like he was Master Zed, right? I thought within that chamber, I thought Zato was going to, in a way, because he's a Morphin Master of his own, I thought, you know, they were going to try to fight him, subdue him, and then he was going to hit him with the staff, and then the staff was going to basically essentially like split all and extract all their Morphin Master powers that Zed had absorbed, and they were all going to go to each ranger in there. They were going to have like a battleizer type of look for that one fight. It was going to, then they would all fuck him up, and that's how they would have saved the day. I thought that's what was going to happen, but we didn't get half of that. They just talked it out. So I mean,
it's so like it's so not Power Rangers not having a fight.
Right.
They're at the end.
Yeah, right.
They're just talking it out. Like it was like, or something. Or you know what could have been done too, you know, maybe, you know, Shades of Andros, where Androids destroys the tube. We could have had Zato with the staff, make it, because the staff is, you know, is magic or whatever. Maybe he's able to break it, but at that point sacrifice himself. You know, like
there's a lot of directions it could have went in, to be honest. Now that we're talking about it.
My thing is that, like, if they at any point alluded to the fact that Zed could have been redeemed, or if they even, like, they could even just brought it up at one point, like, oh, you know, the actual Zed like became good at one point. Like, maybe we can, you know, save him. Like, they never even said anything like that. So like, him just going that route felt kind of random to me. I don't know.
They could have went that way. They could have also done something where, and this just occurred to me now, where it's like, if he had them going in to fight, and let's say like you take the thing I just said, where they all like for like that one moment become Morphin Masters to defeat him, and then Zato's out here destroying the tube as a way to not disperse the evil energy. He absorbs it. He becomes evil. That sets up for a future fucking series, because from Zed to Zato, just so happens they both got Z in the name. Come on, son, that writes itself. That writes itself. Where's my job? Where's my freaking job?
Do you really want me to answer that question for you?
No, I don't.
Okay, there we go.
But what doesn't exist. So like, to me, I'll say that like a second to last episode, like the way it ended with like, you know, Master Zed and like all that. No, because like, didn't they? No, it ended with them already betraying him, right? Was the second to last episode?
You're talking about that was the last.
I think she already betrayed him at that point, and they put him in the I don't know. But anyway,
so.
Like,
it was like, because it happens like super close to
yeah. But anyway, like I thought that the whole reverse Z-Wave thing was a super interesting concept.
Yes, I did too.
Like, yeah, I liked it a lot.
I thought it would have been. I was thinking that they're going to do that. Like, they're saying, like, oh, what if, you know, we don't release it here? We will release it in the morphing grid.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been a perfect way.
Me too.
Like, if they wanted to just be like, yo, this is it. It's over.
You know,
no more Rangers.
I thought, for a second, I did think that too. I was scared.
Because I was like, yo, are they just is this just going to be the end? Because I was like, yo, if this is the end, then they literally could just like get rid of. And part of me feels like that was the plan, and then they like someone was like, "Now
that was
we
the kill
need to-"
switch.
because like between the Rangers still having their powers and like the Zordon mystery, it's like they weirdly left these like straws for people to hang on to, because I feel like maybe they wanted to give the fandom hope. Because if they just ended it, like if they're just like the powers are gone, the morphing grid is corrupted.
There's only comics.
It would literally like the fandom would literally be so depressed right now. It would be like the fandom that takes shit too seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yo,
it would cost a lot of money.
Crazy. I would have been like, yo, that's OD. Yeah, me too. Like,
I mean, besides,
I was kind of ready for it, but
besides what happened with Zed, right? And he's stuck in limbo with Rita forever. I mean, we know he's still alive. We know he's not dead.
And that's like not even real. That's like a fucking genjutsu.
Yeah.
It's overall, it wasn't the worst ending. Obviously, it was far from the best, but I'm kind of satisfied. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
They probably put an end to that story.
Good.
If they put an end to that story, where do they go from here? Type thing, which is what you would want from a Power Rangers season. It's like, okay, they accomplished their goal, they stopped evil. What the hell's gonna happen from here, man? And they left the door open for so much, and I was satisfied. I don't think it was, I don't think it was the best by any means. The one of the best last episodes of the seasons, any season. There's so many other seasons that did it better. But for what we got, I mean, rushed 10 episodes, 22 minutes each, really, not counting the opening and the credits.
Yep.
For what they were given, it was all right. It was all right. Everybody, well, they won. They won. They won. Nobody, even though Zato's dead, he's kind of like really not dead, obviously. So, that cast could potentially, if they decide to make another season, right there, like everybody look healthy. Everybody is right now, just like I told you that Billy solidified himself as Blue Ranger. This cast solidified, in my opinion, one of the best. And I can see them popping up in future seasons for sure.
They deserve it. They've solidified their legacy 100%.
They definitely.
I was actually gonna say, like, one of my positives of this season in general is just like you really felt like they fell into their characters. Like with the, I feel like previously, like we talked about how, like, I'm thinking of her real name, Tessa. Izzy kind of was the most clearly defined in the previous season or series. Yeah. But in Cosmic Fury, it felt like everybody else kind of had their moments to the point where the team just felt so much more natural. Like it feels like a team that I wouldn't mind seeing again, which is like kind of surprising because usually, with these seasons and these series, it's like
y'all know I hated that cast at first. I hated that cast. They grew on me
either.
But
they're good. Like, great. They have like a good dynamic, and especially like when you cut out the fluff and you just kind of like let them have like realistic interactions with each other.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's kind of hard to like discuss the writing because like in some ways it's still very like traditional writing, but I feel like the way that the characters were written in general was just a lot smarter and more straight to the point, and people were doing things that made sense most of the time. Yeah, like I can't really think of anything off the top of my head where people were doing things or saying things that were like too out of pocket. Like, every now and then you'd have like, like he has to talk about his coffee shop because that's his thing, right? Like, it's like, I get it, you have a coffee shop, but you don't have to talk about it all the time. But at the same time, like that's just the Power Rangers of it, Yeah. But like when it came down to the moments and the conversations, like you said, like the conversation between Zato and Solon and Ion when he was like telling him what was up was like, that was like a genuinely well done scene, Yeah. And like you said, like some of the resolutions with like certain characters, like even like when Billy was helping Javi with the arm thing, like that was and honestly, like I was gonna bring up Solon again, but it's like I feel like Solon is one of the more standout like
mentor.
Like I don't. Is Solon a mentor or because Solon's kind of like the alpha, but like
more of an alpha.
She is more of an alpha.
But like Solon definitely stands out. I feel.
Yeah.
I always thought she was solid, but like I definitely liked her more in this.
Yeah.
She got her Godzilla moment.
Yo, that was kind of OD. I love that.
Yeah, that was actually, and she was mad funny. She was like, oh, I've always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So sick. Cause like, it's so funny. Cause when I was staying in Japan, like the hotel I was staying in is called Hotel Gracery, and it has like a gigantic Godzilla.
Oh, you were there? I've been there.
Yeah, I was there.
That shit scared the fuck out of me. When I turned the corner and my man was out, I was like,
yeah, it was OD.
I was freaked out.
When that scene, so I'm literally watching that scene in that hotel, and I was just like, yo, this feels too appropriate right now.
Oh yeah, that's fire. Word. All right. Well, I guess I get one of the last things I want to say before we wrap up, since we've been over an hour on this right now. I mean, we could definitely, anything that you guys want to talk about more, we could bring up on like another episode.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because there's definitely plenty.
There's a ton.
If we were that type of channel to be like do list videos, I'm sure we would have our 5 different endings that we would want to see and blah blah blah, right? But the one thing I definitely, my last things I want to say about Cosmic Fury is that it left me with a great impression for potential on the future. So much so that I would even go out of my way in saying that if they released a one-shot comic for events that followed, say Billy got a series in the comics, like a side story where he's trying to bring Zordon back, that would be fire. That like followed the events of Cosmic Fury. That would actually be OD, and I would love to see it, love to read it, and I would love to definitely promote it. So Cosmic Fury was okay with me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you know, even though we talked a lot about like our, you know, complaints, but I feel like that's because it's important to look at these things in a critical eye, but that doesn't diminish the fact that, like, I feel like all of us kind of have a similar taste about this season. Like, we all felt like it was about the same, you know, score range, and we all enjoyed it. You know, you see where the effort, you know, kind of lays in, and it's like, you know, when I was watching this, I was like, I was kind of hyped watching it, honestly.
I was engaged.
I was engaged. Yeah,
like it's like in a way that, like, normally when you watch these Power Rangers episodes, you're kind of doing some mental gymnastics to rationalize what's happening. And I felt like with this, I wasn't really doing a ton. Like, the only time I really felt like I was doing the mental gymnastics was during the music episode. And again, just because, like, that was the most traditional, like, it was almost like a filler, like the most fillery of the episodes, if any.
It was like their Halloween one at the same time too. They did a double whammy with that. Yeah,
but it's like, you know, overall, like, definitely enjoyed it, and, you know, I'm sure we're gonna be bringing up other aspects from this at some point, and, you know, we're gonna have to do like rankings and stuff, because I'm curious to see where certain, like, where this cast ranks now that we've had, like, the full story.
Tier list territory incoming.
Yeah, we gotta get to 1,000 so we can once we get started on the tier list. Oh, it's a wrap. We about to get
take over quit his job. We're gonna have all the time in the world. He actually showing up. Hey, JD gonna have the greatest mic in the world. Yo, when these tier lists start back up, everybody, all of us gonna be cooking.
Hey, listen, we can hit 1,000 by the time ECT comes around if we all go.
Oh yeah,
that would be some dope shit to film in person. So
we'll see. I'm gonna do my best.
Don't be that guy. Don't be the tech. Don't be the tech.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. All right, guys. Well,
you gotta.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess everybody give our closing thoughts. Like, did you have another closing thought, Isaac?
I mean, you know, overall, it's a good thing they put it all on Netflix so I could watch it real quick. Only took a day to watch it. A very easy watch, very entertaining watch, except for that one episode, the Rock episode. We already know. All of us can agree that was the worst episode of the whole entire season. Started out strong, ended not so strong. Still entertaining. I give it a thumbs up. Go watch it if you have the chance. Make sure you know. If you can't watch Dino Fury, at least know what happened in Dino Fury before watching this season. It makes it that much better, because if not, you're gonna be lost and you're gonna think that it's not that good. Right. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, I'd definitely say Yeah, I mean, I expected it to be solid. It was better than what I expected. They kind of came with. I mean, it wasn't perfect. Like, let's be real, it wasn't perfect, but it was about as good as it could have been, in my opinion.
Yeah,
especially given from what we already had before.
Right,
Dino Fury season 1 and 2.
I think the most important thing is like it really was a proof of concept for a fully American season.
Yeah, true.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because like when you think about it that way, like aside from the Zord footage, like,
and they could have did anything with that.
Yeah,
too.
but it's like just the way that they were able to do their own version of the tropes, but keep it kind of brisk.
And make it
it's like it only makes me think of like how it kind of gives me a little bit of hope for whatever they're gonna be able to do whenever the reboot happens. But obviously, like, it's different creatives, but we know that there is like a balance where you can watch 10 episodes feel fulfilled, like assuming that they're gonna do the Netflix model where it's like a season's gonna be 8 to 10 episodes, like a Cobra Kai.
Yeah, but
when's that coming back?
Right. Generally positive, man. Like, if that's the last season, they ended on a good note, So,
yeah.
Cosmic Fury, thumbs up from me.
Thumbs up from us. All right. Well, that'll about do it for this episode of Power Rangers Academia. If you guys want to hear us talk about anything more in depth with Cosmic Fury, there's something that we didn't talk enough about, you want to hear more about, let us know in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. And make sure you are leaving a like and subscribing. We're pretty much almost at that 1,000 subscriber mark. So shout outs to you guys for the support. And as I mentioned, tier lists are probably going to be happening very soon. So you're going to want to definitely subscribe for that, because there's plenty of things to go around when it comes to that. And there's a very good possibility that we will be able to film a in-person episode with all 4 of us. Let's cross our fingers though. And that could definitely happen in a couple weeks. So who knows? That could be like one of the first live, well, not live, but I don't trust the freaking hotel Wi-Fi. But like, that would be really cool to do like the recording with all of us in the same room. Either whether it's a tier list or we're just talking more stuff on Cosmic Fury or concepts or whatever. So I'll leave that to y'all in the comments below. As always, like, share, subscribe. May the power protect you. Keep it locked, loaded right here on Power Rangers Academia. Stay safe, stay clean, and stay the hell inside. And we'll see y'all next time.